In a quiet, sunlit classroom, she sat at her desk, lost in thought. On the surface, she seemed like a perfect student, diligent, composed, and focused. But behind that serious exterior, she carried a secret that made her heart race every single day. It wasn't the usual kind of teenage drama. No, this was something far more embarrassing, something she desperately wanted to hide. Her father's eccentric larger than life personality was a constant shadow, looming over her carefully crafted image. At school, she was a role model. At home, chaos reigned. But how long could she balance these two worlds before they collided? Her routine was as rigid as her reputation. Study, 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 and study some more. There wasn't room for anything or anyone else until one day he appeared, a carefree, easygoing classmate who seemed to embody everything she wasn't. He had an air of confidence that felt effortless, a charm that disarmed even the most guarded people around him. His relaxed demeanor and genuine smile were a stark contrast to her tightly wound personality. At first, she dismissed him as just another distraction, but he didn't seem to get the hint. Whether it was a casual greeting or a light-hearted joke, he always found a way to slip into her day. Slowly, without even realizing it, she began to anticipate his presence. Why couldn't she just ignore him like she did with everyone else? At home, her father's antics were as relentless as ever. He wasn't just embarrassing, he was outrageous. A former romance novelist with a flair for the dramatic, he lived for extravagant declarations of love and cheesy metaphors. One evening, as she tried to study, he barged into her room holding a feathered pen like a sword. "Daughter," he declared, his voice booming, "you mustn't let your youth go to waste. Life is a romance novel waiting to be written, and you're the heroine." She groaned, burying her face in her hands. The last thing she needed was for anyone to associate her with his theatrics. If her classmates found out, she'd never recover. But what if her father's over? The top meddling was exactly the thing that could unravel her carefully guarded secret. The next day, she arrived at school determined to stick to her routine. But he was waiting for her, holding out a stack of notes. "You left these in the library," he said with a sheepish grin. Her heart skipped a beat, though she wasn't sure if it was from gratitude or sheer panic. Did he see through her unease, or was he just being polite? She muttered a quick thanks and hurried off, clutching the notes as if they were a lifeline. But as she walked away, her father's words echoed in her mind. Every romance starts with a twist of fate. Could this small gesture mean something more? Just when she thought she could retreat into her routine, whispers began circulating through the school. Someone had seen them talking, and now the rumor mill was in full swing. "Are they a couple?" one classmate whispered. "No way. She's way too uptight for him," another replied with a laugh. Her cheeks burned as she overheard the chatter. She wanted to deny everything, but confronting the rumors would only make things worse. How had a single interaction spiraled so far out of control? That afternoon, she found herself sitting on a park bench, her mind racing with frustration and confusion. She wanted to scream, to let out all the emotions she had bottled up. To her surprise, he appeared again, quietly taking a seat beside her. "Rough day?" he asked, his tone softer than usual. She hesitated before nodding. "It feels like no matter how hard I try, I can't escape who I really am," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. He didn't press her for details. Instead, he simply said, "Maybe that's not such a bad thing." What did he mean by that? Back home, her father was unusually quiet, but she knew better than to trust the calm. Sure enough, he soon unveiled his latest scheme, a ridiculous plan to help her embrace her destiny. "It's time for the ultimate romantic gesture," he proclaimed, holding up a handmade sign covered in glitter and heart-shaped stickers. She stared at him in horror. "You're not seriously going to—" "Oh, but I am," he interrupted with a mischievous grin. How was she supposed to stop him from making everything even worse? The next day, she arrived at school bracing for disaster. Her father's meddling had already set things in motion, and she couldn't escape the lingering stares and whispers in the hallways. As she sat at her desk, he approached her once more. This time, his expression was uncharacteristically serious. "Hey," he began, hesitating for a moment. "There's something I need to tell you." Her heart pounded as he continued, his words laced with nervous energy. But just as he was about to reveal his thoughts, the classroom door burst open and her father appeared, holding the glittering sign high above his head. The room erupted in laughter and confusion as her father marched in, completely oblivious to the chaos he was causing. She wanted to sink into the floor, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. Meanwhile, he stood frozen, his expression unreadable. Was he amused, shocked, or something else entirely? As her father's voice boomed through the classroom, she couldn't help but wonder, was this the end of her carefully guarded secret, or the beginning of something entirely unexpected?